watching us from. Thank you so much for waiting for this program, Oris, but also not only older persons, because remember, each of us at one point, we shall get to that age where you will be called an older person. So whatever is going to be discussed on the show is actually very important for each and every Ugandan, of course, from wherever you're watching us from. Thank you so much. I am Jethro Kaseiji, and of course, we are going to be discussing how to expand social protection for older persons. And with me in the studios, I do have the Honorable State Minister for Older Persons, together with the Commissioner, of course, from the Ministry of Gender. Honorable, thank you so much for sparing time. This is not the first time I am hosting you on the show, but of course, tonight, putting our emphasis on older. First things first, Honorable, you're always on the ground. You're always in the field. What stories do you find in the field? Of course, concerning older persons, what is the picture on ground as far as your docket is concerned?
Well, of course, as you know, our government cares, and it looked at the older persons and made various provisions. As you realize, as you age, you weaken, and you retire, and so on. And that's why you find that the most reliable partner is government, and the government has set up what you call social protection for the vulnerables. And under the vulnerables, you have the aged, you also have the disabled, you may also have the sick, you may have all sorts of people who are incapacitated, and definitely the responsibility falls on the government, because it has to look after its citizens. And that's why you find us in Gender, Labor and Social Development. We have a special department known as a Department for Elder Affairs, and we look after all these old persons between 60 and above, but most closely to those who are above 80. Then after that, we look at 60 to 79 to ensure that those who, for whatever reason, are not able to cater for themselves, the government comes in through us. And that's where we have set up various programs, as our commissioner will explain, and properly structured and organized in such a way that it works out and these people are catered for. And in the process, they gain confidence, they have dignity, they have confidence in themselves, and they begin working. And that's where they feel, yes, in Uganda we have a government that cares for our people.
Honorable, you've talked about a few things that government has put in place, but of course, not forgetting access to sustainable, of course, social protection. It is very important to see that these older persons actually access whatever government is putting in place. But in the policy direction, 2040, the vision of inclusiveness, that growth, to ensure that older persons actually are catered for. How are you ensuring that older persons, Honorable, are not actually left behind in that line?
First of all, the government has set up technical people who are trained in this social protection to ensure they put up structures that are able to be used to cater for these people. But also, to cater for the people, you must have a budget. So the government must look for money, and money have it. And that money should be well structured, well budgeted on the annual basis and every quarter, so that you know people are not left hanging. And as you realize, the moment you commit yourself to the vulnerables, you must sustain it. If you decide that you are giving them 5 shillings a month, you must sustain it so that it becomes a livelihood. And that's how government works, and that's where you find technical people like Commissioner Prosper Muhumuza. His job is to ensure that the whole process is properly set, it becomes a system, and it works continuously without any break, because then you have brought people into a certain way of life, and you must sustain it. You know, development partners used to come in, but they have now left. So whatever social protection we have now is purely national and purely Ugandan.
Commissioner, the Honorable has talked about what government has put in place, but of course, how are you ensuring that all this is put in place? I do understand there are some challenges as well. So talking about the grant, it has faced some delays, we must agree, in payments and coverage gaps in some districts. How are you ensuring, what mechanisms are you putting in place to ensure that actually the grant is timely, it gets to that real person that has to receive that grant?
Okay, thank you. The grants, we have 3 grants.
Okay.
Or 2 grants and 1 loan. We have parish development model, we have special enterprise grant for older persons, and we have SAGE. People have more information about parish development model. Viewers outside there, in your locality, just know that older persons are also entitled to benefit from parish development model. 10 older persons per parish, you should be able to access resources such that you do your business, you pay some workers to work in your banana plantation, in your coffee plantation, in your cassava plantation. So money is there to ensure that you achieve that through the parish development model window. Those who can't get from the parish development model window because of payback, because of other reasons, we have another social protection window called the social grants for empowerment for older persons, special enterprise grant for older persons, in brief or in abbreviation we call it SEGOP. SEGOP is for 60 to 79. 5 people come together and apply for 5 million to again cushion them against risks, against vulnerabilities, to enable them to do something, remain relevant, remain active, remain productive, and remain active participants in society. And the 5-group model was also to enlist peer support. You 5 people, you discuss. We don't necessarily limit them to work as a group, but we want them to receive as a group. They may operate as individuals, but they keep meeting, they keep discussing as a group, as part of social capital, as part of peer support. And lastly, we have another window, the 3rd one of SAGE, mainly for 80 years and above. And you seemed to indicate that there could be some glitches or technical gaps here and there. Yes, like any other countrywide program, we have some challenges, but we don't necessarily allow challenges to overshadow the gains. We have had many older persons get transformative results from SAGE, from these 3 windows of hope. We have people build some small houses, we have people pay workers, we have people afford basics, soap, salt, paraffin, name them. And indeed, they are very happy with the program. We have people who have been on the program for the last 12 years, and when they give you their journey, their story behind the 25,000, which started at 20, and then it kept on increasing up to 25, there are tremendous achievements indeed that the grant has achieved. What are the few glitches? I don't want to call them challenges. I may want to call them program contradictions. 1, when we do SAGE beneficiary satisfaction surveys, we establish that some older persons prefer to keep money with the program so that they receive it in bulk. maybe after 6 months as 150, or as after 12 months as 300. Some group would want to get it like that. The other group want to get it every 3 months at least, 75,000. We have had scenarios therefore where one group which wants it to delay, they're like, you don't have to come every 3 months. But then another one says, no, you have to come every 3 months because that's where, this is what I depend on. We have decided as a ministry to keep paying every 3 months. So when money comes out of the treasury, the teams run across the country. The viewers outside there, we have 181 local governments, 142 districts, 31 municipalities, and 5 Kampala divisions, totaling to 181. So our teams have to move because we operate a mobile bank. We have a bank on wheels where older persons must access this money in their parishes, in their sub-counties. The ideal, we had wanted money to be received from their households or communities, but we realized that the vehicles from the payment service provider or the bank can't go up to parish or village level due to geographical terrain and many other factors. And that's where, or that's how we end up paying from parish or from sub-county. However, it's a multiple access model. One, an individual can actually go to the bank and cash out every 3 months. Those who cannot cash out, and who are the majority in our rural communities, because some banks are really not deep down in our communities. That's why we put in an extra mile van to ensure that they reach the community level. So those who can access in urban areas can actually cash out. In the rural areas, we have a bank on wheels to ensure that we give an experience, we give the friendly service, we respect our older persons who sacrificed yesterday and therefore who must enjoy today. Small as the figure may be, we promote and we strive to ensure that they get it in dignity.
Commissioner, before I bring in the Honorable Minister, let's talk about transparency, Commissioner. You've talked about the vans getting to that last wananchi who is deep down in the village, probably where there are no banks. But 75,000 in 3 months. Let's talk about bank charges, Commissioner. Let's talk about at what point will actually this, is there a proposal of ensuring that there is an increase on this money, Commissioner?
Okay, thank you so much. Transparency. So from the word go, we don't have third parties in the receiving of this money for our older persons. Unlike other government programs where funds go through local governments, they go through other third parties, all older persons, 310,000 or so, have bank accounts. This money directly goes to those bank accounts, and it's a responsibility of the government of Uganda to shoulder all other costs. So when you talk about the increment from 20,000, 21, 22, 23, 24, and we are now at 25, we are talking about net. And therefore, 25 times 3 months, 75 another person gets net, and it doesn't have to wonder or to worry whether the bank will charge or XYZ. Government of Uganda handles the rest of the costs. And lastly, what then another person needs to do is to plan for his or her 75,000. We also don't factor in the gender dynamics, and that's why each person receives their funds. In other countries, we know they do household targeting, but in Uganda, due to our gender equity programming, gender equality gains, each individual, a lady, a man, 80 years and above, receive the entitlement. as individuals, and they use it according to their choices. The lowering of age and increasing of the value of the grant, possibly the Honourable Minister would shed some more light from the political angle, but from the technical perspective, modeling and simulations have already been done of what government would pay if we increased from 25 to 35,000, and if we lowered the age from 80 to 75, from 80 to 70, from 80 to 65, and from 80 to 60. So we have done all those modeling. We have an options paper ready for discussion, and I am sure the Honourable Minister will give more information on how best we can execute the meal that is ready to be served on the table.
Those without accounts, do all other persons have bank accounts, Commissioner?
Yes. So when you turn 80, your parish chief picks you into our system, and automatically it's our responsibility to open your account. You don't have to struggle as Jethro. Just turn 80. All this gold, aging is natural, is unstoppable, and because of that, as Uganda, our motherland, unlike many other countries, had to ensure that they pick that as a critical area of support, to ensure that an older person who sacrificed yesterday, who built our foundation where me and you today are talking from, shouldn't be struggling to line up in the bank to open an account or to ask someone to open their accounts. That's all from the government side. That's the responsibility of government.
All right, Honourable Minister, the Commissioner talked about increasing on that grant, increasing on the value, but also talking about reducing the age from 80. How are you ensuring this? Is there a proposal on your table or to the government to ensure that at least older persons start getting this, 25,000 shillings from that 80 years of age to at least 60 or 65 or 70? We've seen countries like Kenya, they do receive theirs at about 60 to 70. Honourable Minister.
You see, the economy is integrated into income and expenditure. And you have to build a budget from the taxes that you get from your people. Now, the government has its own priorities. It says they have set up PDM, agricultural productivity. They see it expanding our income, expanding our income for our people. They are also looking at industrial productivity, that whatever we get with agriculture, we should add on value. And if you add on value, you get more money. And if you process, you improve your product. Then our scientists innovating, bringing new things, they bring in money, and finally the oil. Now the government looks at all this and says, once we succeed in all this, our incomes will increase, our budgets will grow bigger, and we should be able, first of all, to lower the age from 80 to about 70 or 75. Now, when you lower the age, it means the number of older persons is bigger, so you have to get more money. If, of course, you increase the money from, let's say, the 25,000 to about 50, you will have doubled it. So basically, in the new policy, the government is committed to lowering the age. The government is committed to increasing the amount because of inflation and so on. But at the same time, it is working hard to broaden our base of income. Like now, the oil by 2026, we may start be getting our first income through oil. And if you look at minerals will also come upstream. So we are confident that yes, we are going to lower the age. We are confident that yes, we are going to increase the amount and that kind of thing. And of course, as you realize, you can't leave the figures static. The inflation erodes the income of our people. But what is important is that, first of all, that kind of social protection in terms of cash is in place. And why we prefer cash, it is easier to dispense. We could have talked of items, give them sugar, give them this, and so on. And like now, the country is becoming more sophisticated. The banks are there, so we want them to be inclusive in the economy. If you look at PDM now, for you to access it, you must possibly, it's important you have an account. It's important either you have a phone where mobile money works. So the economy is becoming so sophisticated, and our people have to move along with this. Like now, we the old people have to be digital. We must use smartphones if we have to get on, otherwise we shall be illiterate. So you can see everything is dynamic. Whatever you look at is dynamic and it is changing. When you look at artificial intelligence, you must upgrade yourself all the time. Like now, I'm more tolerant to my children when they are on the phone. I'm talking to them. I used to be irritated, but now I'm not. So you can see. But definitely, Uganda, this president has given us peace. He has given us security. He has given us stability. These are very conducive environments for improving the economy. So we are all very optimistic. We have a good future for these old people. And an old person who is in a very insecure place, either what is going on, he really, you can see, is literally dying any moment. But we have that fence around them.
Should we get it from
Right on that.
Yes, please.
Yes. Thank you, Honorable Minister. I think when we pick it from the economic perspective alone, the 25,000 or the 1 million, we lose it in terms of aging. Aging is a bit comprehensive and integrated. In social gerontology, we look at 5 pillars of aging. One of them is health, that you must have a positive lifestyle, very progressive, don't waste yourself, do exercise, eat well, don't waste yourself in waraji and all these other aspects that may ruin your future. So the viewers outside there, as I said last time, you are 100 years, you are 20 years to come will be determined today the way you live in terms of health perspective. And the government is trying to push for a medical insurance customized for older persons to ensure that most of these high costs of NCDs, non-communicable diseases, etc., government does some subsidies in that area. But the way you live today will determine the costs of living of tomorrow. That's under health. Number 2 is social capital. Jethro, the relationships you establish today will determine on how you live tomorrow. Most of our older persons outside there suffer isolation, they suffer loneliness, and these are very critical preconditions for depression, for delirium, for dementia, and for delusion. And these are the 4 conditions that affect most of the older persons. And when we talk about geriatricians, normally they are handling what we call the 4 Ds, the depression, the dementia, the delusion, and delirium. That's the social capital number 2, pillar number 2. Pillar number 3, Jethro, is integrity. In social gerontology, when you live with integrity, when you believe in your conscience, when you believe in your principles, today, and you sustain it until your evening hours, you sure the 25,000 or the 20,000, you actually eat it and you enjoy it, compared to someone whose integrity is compromised, whose conscience is a bit unstable. That's number 3. Number 4 is about intellectualism, intellectual property. What do you have to offer to society? As a farmer, in cassava, can people in your community say, I want to go to Jethro to learn how to plant cassava? Can people come to you because of coffee, because of cotton, because of coffee or maize, whichever you're dealing? And I'm purposely mentioning this because majority of our population are in rural areas. But assuming the small elite, the 5%, you are aging, tomorrow you're going to be retiring. You are retiring with which intellectualism? What do you have to offer to society? Jethro, tomorrow when you leave UBC at 60, why should Prosper be looking for you? For what? What do you have to offer? Do you know how to sew some tablecloths? Do you know how to do public speaking at a function? What do we have to offer? And we have to invest in ourselves today. And that's what I'm concluding on as the issue of intellectualism, intellectual property. And the last one is investment. Our viewers, if you don't save today, if you don't sacrifice today, if the small coin you have today, you have to waste it today, it will determine on your demand for 20,000 when you are 100 years. But if you invest in saving, and this one we are talking about, it save for special cases. We have special cases which social protection come in to help. Issues like wars, issues like HIV, issues like droughts, issues like other calamities. And that's how social protection comes in with the 25,000, with 1 million to cushion the population. As a country, we have gone through wars, we have gone through pandemics, we have gone through other challenges. And that's why social protection come into play. Ideally, Jethro would have done what we call means studies, and not everyone should be getting 25,000. Okay. Some people would be getting 100,000, others 80, others 20, others not getting anything.
We pray for that, Commissioner, but
those are mean studies, but they are more expensive than universal.
Commissioner, we are going for a break, yes. But I wanted to hear one word from the Minister before you go for that break in a minute, Honorable Minister. Should we take it from you that government is going to reduce on the edge from 80 to something? You said you talked about 70 probably, and also increase on the SAGE grant from 25,000 maybe to about 50,000 as we go for the break?
Government is committed to social protection.
Okay.
And social protection involves money and inflation. And definitely the government has planned for this. Definitely the age will be lowered, the amount will be increased to ensure they sustain the purchasing power.
Do we have a timeline for this?
In actual fact, I'm looking at it 2025, 2026.
Okay.
2027, yes, okay. It is coming.
Thank you so much.
And definitely, as far as we are concerned, we are looking forward to it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the front bench continues. For now, allow us go for a very, very short commercial break. Of course, when we do return, we still have a number of issues to talk about: integration with health, talk about budgeting, of course, considering older persons in that effect. Don't go away.
This is the front bench.
For 40 years, your trust has been our most valuable investment.
We have turned your savings into investments, delivering returns that grow with you.
We are driven by innovation, defined by convenience. So wherever life takes you, your fund is right there.
Mommy, look.
Because we are in the business of changing lives today and shaping tomorrow.
Join us for the 13th annual members meeting.
Happening 22nd September 2025, starting at 9 a.m. live on TV and online to discover a steadfast performance guided by accountability and built on transparency. Visit www.nssfug.org/AMM 2025 to register your attendance. NSSF, a better life.
every Wednesday live in our studios in the heart of Kampala.
We have to change the political culture in this country, really. Who has bewitched Ugandans?
I want to assure you, as government, we shall do whatever it takes to ensure that Ugandans are safe.
We have conversations that have analysis, explanation.
This law society, this union of theirs, because they want a job everywhere, they want to be this, they want to be that, they want... No. We know it's a union.
You cannot be making a road, bitumen grade 1, in Congo for 5 billion.
But not every truth is fact, and not every fact is truth.
The argument that the General Court Martial is responsible for peace and stability is without basis, either in law or in fact.
We have been told how Napoleon was a great orator. Now, Napoleon cannot help me get food. They told me combine harvesters in Saskatchewan. I don't know where Saskatchewan is. This is a geography we're taught. Instead of teaching me how to preserve Mabera forest, they're teaching me about Rhineland. This is a problem we got. We cannot run away from it.
Right now, you hear very disgusting stories of members of parliament. Instead of discussing the details of loans, they ask for their cuts.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
All on your public broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Exercise can't be sustained. Eating can't be stopped. It's even harder to lose weight. Come and give it a try. Genshikang L-carnitine chromium capsules. Plant extract, scientific ratio. Take 3 capsules each time. The active ingredient accelerates fat burning, eat twice a day. Don't take a detour. Weight loss starts now. Genshikang L-carnitine with chromium capsules helps you stay in shape. Please follow medical advice when taking this product. For more information, visit our website www.hgo.com or call 0800 335555.
Fellow countrymen and women, these are our ministers and permanent secretaries at the front bench, representing the various ministries and answering the questions that matter to us. Join the conversation. This is the front bench.
This is the front bench, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for keeping it UBC. We're still talking about expanding social protection, of course, for older persons. Honorable Minister, let's talk about issues of health insurance. As we wait for that broader scheme, what is the ministry doing to ensure that the elderly get immediate support in terms of improved access to health services?
You see, our elders have a lot of non-communicable diseases: hypertension, diabetes, prostate, cervical. And you see, as you age, because you never get many children who are hypertensive or who are diabetic. So it comes with age. And as I told you, government has its priorities, and definitely we shall have health insurance, we shall have all those. But then we, the people involved in the day-to-day life of an older person, we have money to negotiate, like with Liberty Insurance. They have given us insurance covers. If you pay 36,000, you have 2 million coverage per year. If you pay 60,000, you have 3 million coverage for a year. And when you look at non-communicable diseases, like diabetes, 2 million would take you through the year. If you are looking at prostate, we now have herbal medicines from the Mbarara University. They are doing research. With that kind of fund, you can take these people throughout the year. and the Muganda says Lubale mbera nembiroko otadde, that God help me when you are helping yourself. So this will force government to take it as a priority, and it will be a challenge to government that, like now, these people of Sage, if the fellow is paying all the money to that, you say, we must. So we think we have taken a good initiative to kickstart these systems so as to also challenge government that, yes, it must prioritize, because as you realize in budgeting, it's prioritizing. And if government prioritizes something, it will eventually do it. And that's how we are moving. But as you realize, age is not irreversible. So it's important that as a fellow is weakening, you must come and assist these people. We are also looking at changing our policies, giving special attention to older people. All this, like the commissioner will explain, they go towards giving comfort to our people. He also talked of diet, he talks of all these things. The way you live determines what you are. For instance, myself, I've never been hospitalized, and I am 76. So even if hospitalization began now, I've had a good 76 years without going to hospital for hospitalization. But I follow certain ways of life, how I eat, how I sleep. For instance, I never use a lift because I have no time for exercises. I walk to my office, I walk down, and that kind of thing. So you see, you don't live comfortably and healthily as an accident. It's a determination you make. Like if you overdrink, you will go quickly. If you overindulge in food, you will become obese. If you, even exercises, if you overdo them, they are also a problem.
At some point.
Yeah, so you have to do everything in moderation. Like he said, if you stay on your own, it's also a problem. You must open up.
Honorable, does this justify the fact that there is a proposal on table that at least for us, for you to fight for the increase, for the increment on the SAGE money, for example, the commissioner talked about people waiting to receive this money in bulk and probably put up a house. But also, we do have older persons who are using this money to pay for their bills in hospitals. Some government hospitals, some of them, not all of them, but also the private ones. Can't this justify the statement that at least there needs to be an increment as well?
No, of course, it justifies. But also, you see, you must look at realities. And that's why, if you have many children, you can't decide to take one in a very expensive school. You must balance the budget. But for us also, these are the things we use to convince our colleagues in government. For instance, today I was in cabinet, and the response regarding the International Day for Older Persons was very good. They said, whatever areas we have in the SAGE money, we must make sure it is cleared before that date. Whatever is lagging in PDM, we must have it properly done, so that when we face these old people, and like I told you, NRM has a block vote as far as elders are concerned. And if you look at this opposition party, you hardly see any older person. But when His Excellency is moving around, you see many of these people. So as a government of NRM, we have a duty, an extra duty towards these people because of their faithfulness to us. And also, we also feel that it's good for us. But what I must tell you is not how much, but it's what you do with your money. Like I was in Kaburamaido, there was an old woman who was deaf and old, but she left her money there for 1.5 years. When she removed, she bought a cow. When we met her, she gave her testimony. The cow had produced a calf. Her MP was so impressed, he gave her $500,000. So you can see the 25,000 can multiply in a very interesting way. Of course, for you young men who have never lived on 25,000 per month, you can't see how someone can manage. But someone who has not been receiving any income when gets that 25,000, it makes a lot of sense. We were in Yumbe. We went to an old man's home who was old and in a wheelchair. But with that sage money, he had built up a small house, permanent. We met an old woman. She had bought goats. She was now having 15 goats. She has kept some with her daughters and so on. So I think success, like you go to university, you all come out, you find one of your colleagues is ahead of all of you. It's the kind of life and discipline he calculates in his day-to-day life. What we do determines what we are. For instance, if you don't marry, it's difficult to get a family. So if you want to get a reasonable family, you marry, and so on. Of course, we Christians believe in a reward after here. Okay. So if you don't go to church, that reward is distant. So you can see, those are the realities of life. You must be proactive. But for us, our role is to give opportunity. Our role is to facilitate, and so on, like he said, Prosper ensures that the money is on the account.
All right. Commissioner?
Yes.
You're the Commissioner of Disability and Elderly Affairs.
Yes.
Let's talk about inclusivity of older persons with disabilities now.
Yes.
I do understand statistics show that nearly about 30% of older Ugandans live with some form of disability. Now, how is your department ensuring that elderly persons with disabilities are given priority, but of course accessible channels in social protection schemes, but of course putting in mind community level of awareness, because some of these people in the rural areas, some of them may not be aware of the different government programs. Commissioner, over to you.
Thank you so much. One is the Honorable Minister, in one of the top policy management meetings of the ministry, brought that idea of looking at an older person with disability vis-a-vis an older person without disability, and his point of departure was equalization of opportunities. So what happened is that as we discussed the different options of lowering the age from 80 to 60 or 65 or 70 or 75, what was very feasible and viable and what he presented to top policy and was approved is that currently older persons with disabilities are actually enrolled at 75 years. Unlike their counterparts without disabilities who wait for 80, for persons with disabilities, it's 75. So the people outside there, the community development officers and parish chiefs, if you have an older person with disability, he has an ID that shows that he's past 75 years, please register him or her to start receiving SAGE grants. But Jethro, there are other programs in the pipeline that the Honorable Minister is cooking, yes, as we spoke during the break time. One of them is that what we call weekly clinic days for older persons. That in the near future, we are going to ensure that every government health facility has a day in the country, say a Thursday, across the country, taking care of older persons' issues. The reason being that the older persons have unique challenges and unique needs in respect to health. Therefore, giving them a dedicated day in a week is something that will go a long way in improving their health well-being, and that's why the minister is pushing that agenda. Number two, Jethro, is what we call social gerontology centers. Social gerontology, as I explained earlier, is a discipline that touches the cognitive, the cultural, the psychosocial, the counseling, and all social therapy around an older person. And we believe that if we have sub-regional social gerontology centers where older persons come with their caretakers, get support, get capacity building in terms of how to take care of themselves, how the caretakers can take care of them, it is something that's going to go a long way in improving their health. We also have what we call courses for older persons. Last time I was here, I told you about courses in geriatrics and courses in social gerontology. As a country, we have delayed to initiate courses to produce specialists in older persons' care and support, healthcare in terms of geriatricians or geriatric clinicians who would really study and specialize in older persons' healthcare, and social gerontology specialists who would specialize in the social therapy of older persons. And we are glad to inform the public that through the Honorable Minister's pushing, Makerere University has already put in place a steering committee that is working on the curriculum for geriatrics. It will be a postgraduate course in all public universities across the country. Same with social gerontology. Soon, all adverts under Ministry of Gender and the Department of Disability and Elderly will be emphasizing possession of skills and qualifications in social gerontology as a way of advocating and promoting this discipline. We have older persons without alternative care. There are not many, there are few. That's why we are looking at social gerontology centers in our 18 sub-regions across the country, such that if no one in the community can take care of these older persons, those exceptional circumstances, then we have them in our centers. We are going to do what we call a public-private partnership to ensure that if Jethro, you want to start care, you have physiotherapy, you have a nurse, and you are requiring a building, you are acquiring land, we enter partnership, and together we improve the lives of our older persons.
Honorable Minister, the national budget for social protection is still less than 0.5%, that is of GDP, below the African Union's recommended 2%, if I'm not mistaken. How is your ministry working with the Ministry of Health to ensure that, the Ministry of Finance to increase the budgetary allocation to expand social protection for the elderly persons?
You see, government has overall priorities. Like I mentioned to you, that the current priority, which is immediate and yields results urgently, is PDM. We are putting some 5 trillion shillings in 5 years. And certainly it's going to have a socio-economic transformation of our people. Then too, we are looking at industrial productivity. This one definitely will bring in more money in the country, and especially in export, like now our coffee, our milk is coming up, and that kind of thing. Then, of course, scientists, we are enticing them with increased earnings. Like there's one who is doing very well, and so on. And then finally, our oil. Now, all this definitely are going to increase our income. And once the income is increased, all these things, we are going to do them. Like now, the old people, if you look at their budget in the whole entity, the budget is not very big. It's only that we are at a stage where we have so many competing demands, but the elders' budget is not big. And we think government is going to enhance it, and it will be even before the elections. And I can see these people certainly improving their incomes. But as you realize, when you commit, you can't stop. It becomes a lifeline. It's not like someone who is earning money and you say, oh, perhaps this. And I'm confident that all these are going to be balanced, and the elders will have more money. And once our budgets increase, we won't feel the amount we give under social protection.
Maybe let me give a background to the budget.
Yes,
Mr. Jethro.
Please.
Uganda's social protection record is really, really unmatched. In 2010, when SAGE was started, many countries in the region didn't know about it. Actually, we became a role model in the region. And where we're coming from is that we started at 1 billion. And we're targeting only one district called Yumbe. The rest of the district were being supported by the development partners. We increased to around 5 billion. We went to 19.5 billion. We went to 30.2 billion. We went to 96 billion. We went to 121 billion. Last year we got a bit of a glitch. We went back to 100 billion. But at the same time, we initiated another program called the Special Enterprise Grant for Older Persons aged 60 to 79 with a budget of 5 billion. Last year we went to 3 billion. Through the efforts of the Honorable Minister, all of the budget cuts were restored. As we talk this financial year, no older person will go into areas. All groups of SEGOP will get their 5 billion. All SAGE beneficiaries we are assured of 121 billion. A journey that we have moved in 10 years from 1 billion to now 121 billion. So it's been a progressive and indeed a positive journey that demonstrates how this country values older persons and how the commitment is on to ensure that we touch the dignity and decency in as far as the lifestyle of an older person is concerned.
Commissioner, before I go back to the Honorable Minister, as we wind up, ideally, I want to get your view. I do understand our aging population is projected to double by 2050, but what long-term reforms do you have in place to build a sustainable and build a sustainable national pension and social protection system for older persons?
Okay. So our studies indicate that most of our older persons who are facing abuse, they have issues to do with asset management, including land grabbing, as one of the key challenges our older persons are faced with. What's in the pipeline is to work with Ministry of Lands to ensure that all our older persons, especially 70 years and above, start getting free services in terms of land registration and will writing, so that it's easy to do succession planning in respect to asset management. The second one, which I spoke to earlier, is weekly free clinic days for all health facilities across the country, but more importantly, to build a cadre in health of geriatric clinicians. Our life expectancy is now at 68, with ladies at around 80. This automatically calls for a lot of investments in health, old age care, and that's why I'm telling you that a course is already being drafted, and in the next 1 year or so, we should be having courses in all over 10 government universities training geriatric clinicians and gerontologists. So that's in the area of research, in the area of academia, to ensure that as we move, we don't leave the older persons behind. But we have what we call intergenerational movement. With the importation of the Western culture and a lot of things coming on board, privatization and modernization coming with their own issues, good and partly bad if not adapted well, there are a lot of investments to ensure that we do better retirement planning, we do better reforms in pensions. You have heard about pension reforms, where all civil servants are going to do contributions. Jethro, efforts to reform NSSF are still on. We don't want someone to be getting 100 million at a go, and then, or 500 million, and this 1 billion or 500 million maybe is invested in a bad deal, and someone loses 1 billion at a go. We think in the near future, NSSF will be reformed into a pension, such that the social security of an older person who has saved with NSSF over the years, and he has his 2 billion, can actually be transformed into a pension that he can live on decently and in a dignified manner until his evening hours, or until Lord calls him or her. So lots of transformative efforts. The reason why initially PDM didn't have older persons, and later on through Honorable Ministers Gidudu pushing and advocacy, Cabinet thought it wise to add older persons 10%, was the realization of the big numbers, the numbers that are going up, and the need for all these older persons to transform their assets into productivity and to ensure that their assets can be liquidated to improve their well-being.
Commissioner, whatever you have in place as government, is it practicability? Will it really work? You talked about the challenges older persons are facing, land grabbing, you talked about assets management. I mean, we must appreciate what we have in place, but practically, will it yield results?
Yes, so currently our operations research indicate that the daughters or sons or grandchildren of an older person will come and trick the older person that please sign here. The fella is making an older person sign a sales agreement, but in actual sense, this trickery good-for-nothing daughter or grandson is telling the grandmother that this is just for hire, for a season. That, oh, Jethro is going to plant for a season, so sign here, he plants for a season and land belongs to us. But this older person, what he does, he doesn't know that actually is selling for good. So when we transform, when we do reforms in Ministry of Lands to ensure that all older persons above 70 years get free land registration services, and Jethro, as an older person of 71 years, has his title, it will take really a tall order for the trickery son or grandson to actually play around with your land. Jethro, poor diagnostics, where some clinicians currently who are not exposed to geriatric medicine end up prescribing or giving wrong diagnosis of older persons because they are not exposed to the medical perspective of older persons. Immediately we introduce the postgraduate courses in all our universities that are offering health sciences. You're sure that the dignity, the health care will automatically improve, because then you will have all the specialists at our exposure. Currently, Jethro, we have one geriatrician in the country.
Can you imagine?
Recruited in the service. He works at Murago National Referral Hospital. We have 3 in total, but the one in the service, sorry, we have only 1 in the service. And we are hoping that in the near future, when each university of government is producing about 10, then you are sure that our older persons are in safe hands. Jethro, if we partner with the private sector and get social gerontology centers across the country, would be moving faster. And is this practical? Yes. We have organizations like Rotom, it's an NGO. We have organizations like the Aged and many others who are already training volunteers as gerontology assistants, as geriatric assistants, already without government push. So immediately government comes up and say, we want regional or sub-regional social gerontology centers where older persons are under professional care, where the caretakers of older persons are taught the A to Z of taking care of their loved ones, then you are sure that the Ugandan community of older persons is going to enjoy, is going to be in a decent and dignified environment.
Honorable Minister, 1st October, International Day for Older Persons. But of course the theme is enhanced household income. But of course, it is a key to dignity and respect for older persons. You did mention, Honorable, that you have about 4 years to clock 80 years. That means in 4 years you'll also be benefiting from this age, Honorable Minister, if I should say. Yeah. What is there for us as Ugandans to ensure that we celebrate this day, to ensure that we do recognize the older persons, because a lot is happening. And from whatever you're telling us, Honorable, and the Commissioner, there is a lot on table. So as we get nearer to 1st October, the international, when we celebrate, we join the rest of the world to celebrate the International Day for Older Persons. What is there for us to look at and say, okay, now this is it?
Yeah, first of all, every older person looks forward to this day. It's not only in Uganda, it's all over the world. It's international. So for us in Uganda, our elders, the chairman, we're inviting them for the annual general meeting.
Before that day or that day?
It will be on 30th September.
Okay.
A day before. And they will come and review and talk of whatever successes and whatever challenges. And then on the 1st October, each district will send in what I would call a delegation. But also we at head office will chip in to make sure that when they are in Kampala, they have a kind of celebration to know that yes, we are here because we are older persons. But also government, like I told you in cabinet when we presented our paper, everybody, I was highly impressed. Everybody was very positive. And whatever we are in arrears, everybody thinks it should be handled. And these people should have a feel that yes, it's a special day for us. It puts in more effort and so on. And good enough, even the Minister of Finance is also an elder, he's over 80. So we expect him to make his contribution. But you see, celebration, whoever is not happy, it's difficult to expect that person to celebrate. So what we do now, the sage, the what, is what builds the environment for the celebration of that day. I'll give you an example. We were in Yumbe to monitor, and we went at the pay point where Centenary Bank was. And as I told you, these people are paid every quarter. But people with their merchandise were there, sugar, bread, water, and so on. Now, for you who say this money is little, but one by one makes a bundle. So we were impressed. They were happy. So to me, when you bring these people together, you see happiness, you see a belonging, you see visibility, and you see recognition by government. This fellow is invited just because he's an old person. You see, that is the badge. And there's no shop where you can go and buy elderliness. So it's something, a process you have to go. It's a journey through life.
We shall all get there.
Yeah, and the government recognizes it. You see, they have the whole educated person like Prosper, that your job is to handle these people. And he's well versed and he's proud. And that kind of thing.
To deal with older persons.
Ah, yes, dealing with older persons. By the way, you know, there's this old man who normally comes from somewhere there, and he wants this. When he comes, he feels entitled. So it's up to Prosper to know how best to handle him, and so on. And when he handles him, he covers me. Because if he doesn't, he will come to me. If I don't, he will go to our senior minister. So that's how these people are. But also when we come and meet young men like you, you take interest in us and ask interesting questions. That in itself means the whole country is actually involved. And we are very optimistic that this thing will improve. Social protection is a sacrifice for the vulnerables because they can't. And you see, you know, for instance, you go to school with somebody, he becomes a graduate, but he becomes alcoholic, and he becomes vulnerable. So when you are what you are, you should thank your God.
Is your voice felt by government, Honorable Minister?
Oh, it
as
is.
Older persons?
You see, like today, let him tell you the reaction, because I'm part of cabinet. Let him tell you. Let Prosper tell you.
Okay, thank you so much, Honorable Minister. I'm not supposed to talk about the secrets in cabinet.
but you have permission from the minister.
But to start with the issue of people who will attend the International Day for Older Persons, to add of what the Honorable Minister has put, we are taking...
The function will be in Jinja?
In Jinja City. Okay. We are taking stock of the gains, achievements, and the challenges of older persons across the country. So what does that mean? This is an accountability session that all 7 members of the executive across the country, that means over 176 local governments, 7 members of the executive, the 5 committee members and 2 councillors, all of them are coming to Jinja. Their district community development officer are coming to Jinja. Then we deliberate, where have we gone wrong? Where are we doing well? How can we sustain? We do a SWOT analysis of how we are moving. Talk about how excited people are. There is a district community development officer who have just sent me a message from Sironko. He's retiring, I think, in 2 or 3 weeks from now. And he's excited because he wants to come to Jinja to celebrate his birthday for, as part of the commemoration for International Day. So, Mr. Jambo, you're welcome. I have received your message and will be dancing your birthday for attaining 60 years while we are in Jinja. But what are the packages of activities that we shall be commemorating? 1, we shall have a pensions baraza.
Okay.
Everyone who has issues with his pension, he has some questions here and there, we shall have the Ministry of Public Service, and we shall have the Jinja City displaying payrolls for pensions. Because as a ministry in charge of older persons, we ensure that we bring the different entities that touch the livelihood, touch the welfare of the older person there. We are working with Uganda Cancer Institute and Jinja Referral Hospital to do a health camp, to do cancer screening. We are going to work with Ministry of Justice to do a legal aid clinic, specifically older persons who have challenges on their land and asset management. They will have free legal services there. NIRA, some older persons have had challenges of accessing their IDs. There will be a NIRA Baraza in Jinja where older persons who have questions about how to acquire their NIRA or their IDs, their answers, their questions will be answered. We shall have sage payment to demonstrate how we pay, how we do customer care, how we make sure that our older persons are respected. We shall have private sector joining. 2 buildings, very beautiful houses for the most vulnerable older persons in Jinja would be launched. We shall have some partners who are joining with the ministry to ensure that 2 older persons get decent houses on that day. And we shall have lots of mattresses, blankets, bed sheets being distributed to older persons who have been assessed and found to be a bit vulnerable, or their caretakers are not taking care of them. But Jethro, the people outside there who are listening to us, if you can touch your pocket, if you can touch your phone and see some little money there, a 20,000, a 30, before we say that the government 25,000 is small, can we send it to this older person in our community through a trading center, mobile money outlet? This person will be happy and will bless you.
Commissioner, we the youths, you're from the Ministry of Gender, and of course gender takes
life cycle.
Life cycle.
Yes.
Somewhere, somehow, are we invited or only older persons?
The general public is invited to be in Jinja on Kamuli Road, and everyone really is invited. We have what we call intergenerational discourse, and that's why on 30th we have a symposium to discuss how old and young can join hands for a brighter future for our old age.
All right, Honorable Minister, your last remarks, if you have something to say as we close, because our time is actually fast spent.
First of all, I thank you for this opportunity. It is coming as our International Day for Older Persons is drawing nearer. It gives us an opportunity to address our older persons. It lets them know that, yes, there's inclusiveness within the overall scope of Uganda, and it creates visibility. And also, it knows that, yes, we prioritize their existence through these celebrations of International Day for Older Persons, which will be celebrated in Jinja. All are invited. All of them can come. You can watch TV. You can tune on your radio. If you are within the radius of Jinja, you are always welcome, and we are hoping that UBC...
We shall be live.
We will be live, and we shall appreciate. Of course, also, I must thank our technical people within the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development who have put their time into it. We thank His Excellency for the peace, security, stability in the country, and the good infrastructure of our roads where we travel seamlessly. And definitely we see a promising future. And like the UN says, we shall have more people by 2050, more older people than the youth. I can see that reality coming because I see it within our population. So every older person, wherever you are, if you can't come to Jinja on 1st October, if you have a TV, tune on the TV.
UBC.
Of UBC. If you don't have a TV, the radios are there.
Yeah, true.
And so on.
So our 11 radio stations.
Yeah, you see, we have so many of them. So we hope that that day you can relax. You don't have to go to the garden. Tune on any, you can use your neighbor and so on. It's your day. Thank you very much, and we look forward to, of course, every year having this with you.
Anytime.
But don't wait for only this day. We are always available. An opportunity given to us,
please,
we shall respond.
All right.
Thank you.
The theme for this year is enhanced household incomes, a key to descent of older persons, a key to respect and descent of older persons. And I want to take this opportunity to repeat the 5 elements which will make us, me and you, have better household incomes, but also it becomes a key to decent and respect for you as an older person, either today or in the future. And what I said, there were 5. One of them is health. Have a very positive and brilliant health, lifestyle. Number 2 is social capital. You need relationships. Number 3 was intellectual property. You have something to put across to your fellow countrymen or community. Number 4 is integrity. Integrity is key. Be principled. Don't, please, obey your conscience. Don't tamper with your conscience. And lastly,
investment.
Whichever little you get, save and invest. Thank you so much, UBC, for God and my country.
Thank you so much, Commissioner, Disability and Elderly Affairs, Mr. Prosper Muhumuza, for sparing time. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister, Mr. Dominic Gidudu. Thank you so much for sparing time. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, our focus gets to 1st October to see what exactly will happen on that D-Day in Jinja City. And I know as UBC TV, we shall be live. And of course, bringing to you up to speed on everything that will be transpiring on that particular day. Thank you so much, the technicians. Thank you so much, my producers, and of course, everyone who has been part of the show from the different parts of the country, wherever you have been watching us from. Thank you so much. Till next Monday, I am Jethro Kasaiji. Good night.
Oh, Uganda, may God uphold thee. We lay our future in thy hands.